Welcome back, woodworkers. Okay, so once I have joinery cut, and this is a practice board that I was testing some things out, but I've got hollow chisel mortise here, and I've got a hollow chisel or a horizontal mortiser or multi-router mortise cut out here. Regardless of how the mortise joinery is cut, location of apron is going to be the same. So this line demarks notates the width of that apron, and then I have these in the locations where I'm going to want them. What I've done is, as I said, drawn out where the apron is going to end. Then from this view, you'll notice that I've drawn in a taper line that I need to follow. So whatever the starting thickness is here of the material, this will get tapered down to roughly 1 inch. So if you'll notice, what I've done is I've set the taper going from the interior, denoted by the mortise here, and then it tapers to the outside. And by doing so, it broadcasts out the position of the legs, and it makes it feel and aesthetically it looks like it's a little bit more stable. If we reverse that, if my joinery is over here, the taper goes in towards the center of that table in this case. It just feels like it has a more delicate position or a footprint, and so this is a little bit of theory as far as how to make tapers happen. So noticing here, I'm going to end at 1 inch by 1 inch. I'm going to have a taper here, flipping this thing around, flipping this thing around here. I've got another taper coming across here. So there's a couple ways of cutting tapers. I'm going to start with the simplest, which is to just hog off this material, staying well outside of my line by at least a 1/16 of an inch, possibly more, and then tuning it up. But so that's the fastest way. It's easy to lay these out, straight lines. All it takes is measuring down the apron, measuring across where you want your taper to terminate, and then the rest of this just goes away. And I'm pretty bullish about just marking off all the waste pieces as much as I can. I don't know how this line got here, but no, not to cut on that line. One last thing about cutting tapers is after I've cut joinery, so this end is being squared up, laying out my joinery based on that. After the joinery has been laid out, then I'm going to cut all the legs out of their final length. I typically leave the length of the legs longer than I need, just in case something goes foul here. I can always trim this stuff off, have extra material or extra length to work with. So once I'm happy with joinery, then cutting it down to final length. I can't lay out my taper without making sure that these are all their final length and they're all the same. Otherwise your geometry starts to change one leg to the next. Okay, so that's the layout. Let's take a break and I'll jump over to the bandsaw and we'll go to phase 2.